I've made my healthy share of fair mistakes, still learning the give and the take. But I'm seeing everything through brand new eyes, taking in the world through different light. Thought I wasted all my life, but I think I changed my mind. I was done growing up, had enough of chasing down the sun, but suddenly I can see everything evergreen. I won't profess I've got it figured out. I know I'm only getting started now, still learning the ups and the downs. But I'm seeing everything through brand new eyes, taking in the world through different light. Thought I wasted all my life, but I think I changed my mind. I was done growing up, had enough of chasing down the sun, but suddenly I can see everything evergreen. Chasing down the sun, but suddenly I can see everything evergreen.
How do I be a man, take a stand for myself? How could it be this hard to say hello? Could it be that I'm nervous? I haven't been this way in a while. I wonder if you know. They say keep waiting for the day your heart knows it feels right. I don't know a thing about you, but I know I wanna give this a try. If I could say I need you closer today, I would like to get to know you if you're feeling okay. Tell me your name, and I'll never let your love go to waste. Till then, this crush will never go away. Every other day and almost every night, in a way I guess I'm hypnotized. Should I write you a song all about your eyes, or introduce myself and just say hi? They say keep waiting for the day your heart knows it feels right. Well, I don't know a thing about you, but I know I wanna give this a try. If I could say I need you closer today, I would like to get to know you if you're feeling okay. Tell me your name, and I'll never let your love go to waste. Till then, this crush will never go away. I'm so nervous, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous, I'm so nervous. Till then, this crush will never go away.
This view used to bring a smile to my face. Lately it's done nothing but remind me of the way that you used to give me butterflies. Took me 21 days to walk our former paradise. Step by step, brick by brick, I'm reclaiming what's mine. This city is way too small to give away to just one guy. Street by street, breath by breath, from the back bay to the sky. I'm taking back my city. I'm taking back my life. The cafe where you asked me for my name. The bookstore we spent 5 hours hiding from the rain. It's like a game of Monopoly, except I steal back all my property and leave you on the ground. And I know that I'll see you one day on the street with a girl on your arm, but I won't let that keep me from this town. From this town. From this town. Oh, step by step, brick by brick, I'm reclaiming what's mine. glass in a booth with the 50s on loop at a table. Our names cut in wood and I'm asking what's good with the waiter. Maple and memories, the best and worst with you. Driven from each other, the
ใช่
best
ค่ะ
that we could do.
ใช่ปิดเพลงเลยก็ได้ค่ะ Hi how are you Did you hear me well
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Hi how are you Thank you so much for joining us
No
I only
worries.
start on time but I just want to say hi and so is it okay to so I just want to brief the mood and tone but we are alive now but people are joining us now but we can take it very friendly environment I think so
Okay.
is it okay that I start with questions and answer first or what do you
Yes, if you want. That's fine. Yes, I've got one question in my presentation pack
okay very
about people's experience with this topic.
yes, that'd be great
Yeah.
So first I'm gonna introduce you a bit but feel
Okay.
free to jump in if I didn't properly introduce or you have more badge of honor any kind of
That's okay. No worries.
I actually just finished your YouTube video, which is great. I find it
Okay.
very easy to understand. Let me
Oh,
speak
wonderful.
first. There you go. So where are you live from now? Where are you calling us from?
I'm in Melbourne or just outside of Melbourne in Australia.
Ah,
So this is, yeah, from my home
how's
in,
the weather in Melbourne so
it's
far?
actually very hot today. Yeah, very warm. Hmm. How about you?
For you, hot for you is how many degrees?
Uh, nothing like what you have.
It's
It's probably today's 34 degrees, which is a hot day Celsius.
okay.
But yeah, look, it's not nearly as hot as I think you get over there in Thailand.
Hold on. Our staff say my microphone is not. One moment. พี่ไก่อย่างนี้ดีขึ้นไหมคะโอเคโอเค
Good. Just a quick question. Am
Sure.
I able to share my slide pack when I start the session?
Of course.
Yeah, perfect.
You can we can try it now actually if you want to.
Okay, yeah. Let's do it. I just want the chat. That's good. Can you see it okay?
Yes, it's fine. Hello.
Wonderful.
I think people are saying hi now. They are
Okay, wonderful.
They are very eager to talk to you like right on time.
Oh, that's good. Good to know.
Okay,
Yes, we've got
สวัสดีทุกคนนะคะวันนี้เดี๋ยวขออนุญาต we're gonna start a live session today because our guest now is not from Thailand but hopefully she will visit Thailand and then it'll be live in our present so welcome Esta again let me
Thank
introduce
you.
you first and then you guys if you're here please say hi to Esta so first thing first I'm very excited that we have this opportunity because nowadays the word business analysis is not that common in social media. It doesn't mean it's not a great career path, but it's not common yet. So I was looking for an opportunity to actually invite expert to talk about to us because one of the problem that we see is when we train our students that they don't really know what to think when they have the data, they don't know how to analyze and they don't know how to value their data to put into work into business stakeholder and etc. So today let me introduce our guest. This is Esta Lessing. Am I pronounced correct?
Perfect. Yes.
Okay. So Esta has a strong background in business analysis include having complete multiple British Computer Society business analysis certification, finishing BCom and am I correct? Yes, BCom informatic degrees at University of Pretoria and London School of Economics. I'm reading here, so you guys.
Yes, that's all good.
I don't want to miss anything. And nowadays, she worked at South Africa, UK, but now she based in Australia, Melbourne, as she told us now. And she actually is she has published CCBA and CBAP certification study guides as career path business analysis book guides and course for people all over the world. Am I correct? You could add
Yes.
time now.
No, you're doing very well.
Okay, so if you guys are here, just say hello to Esta if you don't mind in Facebook and then in Zoom as well ใครมาแล้วก็ say hi to Esta ได้นะคะนิดนึงนะคะให้กำลังใจแขกเรานิดนึงนะคะ cheer up our guest นะคะ so Esta first what is business analyst so first thing first is it the same as data analyst so this is probably a basic questions but
Yes, that's a good question. No, and hopefully when I go through my journey today, you will get a much clearer understanding of what business analysis actually is. Because a lot of, it's actually quite a general term. If you start analyzing the word business and analysis, it could mean so many different things. So business analysis in a nutshell is really about analyzing business needs and understanding what the organization wants and needs in order to grow, and then to take that understanding and communicate that in different ways to different other teams to get solutions implemented. So that's in a nutshell, but it's one of those really abstract concepts, and you'll see that the way that we are going to discuss this career today is going to be very practical, because I want you to get a real feel for what does a business analyst do every day when they go to work. What is the types of projects you do? What is the types of activities you have to do? And I think hopefully that will give you a really good understanding, because a data analyst, just for example, focuses on data only. So they go into the data and they do a great job, and it's very detailed focused, and they manage to analyze data and identify data patterns, being able to show the business what those patterns are so that they can make better decisions. And some business analysts would do some data analysis as well. But some business analysts won't. They'll do just maybe process work, or they might just work on something else. So yes, it's a great question. It's a very valid question. And yes, I think at the end of this session, I'd love to see whether you guys see that difference even better.
Okay, great. I have listened to one of your YouTube clip, so I'm gonna ask something that you mentioned that I loved. You said about when we receive a package from Amazon on time, and then you said that when the packet reach us on time, the major role of ensure that the timeline that we receive every time is smooth is actually business analysis. Could I just jump in and just pull this case right up, and then you can explain, like, because in Thailand we are the same. We may have different platform, not Amazon, but we order online so much. So how is business analyst actually, the role in there to actually ensure the package is arrived on time?
Okay, so that is a great example, actually, and I'm glad you're asking that question. So it's nice to see somebody's listening to the YouTube video. That's lovely.
Very good. It's very good.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, so what that is basically about. So if you think of buying anything in a store even, you have to go to the store, then you have to select what you buy, you pay for it over the counter, and you take your package home. In the old days, the bookstores was you go to the bookstore and you buy your book and you go home. With Amazon, Amazon has now, they have basically automated that for us. And over the years, where you can go and click on a screen on the web page and order your book, and magically your book arrives within a few days. That supply chain. Now, the role of the business analyst in this is the business analyst would typically have been the one to say, okay, how can we make the process of somebody ordering that book very smoothly so that it's really easy for you to know what to do to order the book. So they would have looked at that process of the ordering process, and they would have identified any areas that might not be optimized, that might be a little bit clunky, or maybe there's a manual step involved somewhere that Amazon had to do. And they would have identified those steps and say, hey, if we change this part of the process, we can deliver even faster. And that's what the business analyst would do. They would look at the end-to-end process of how that book gets ordered. They look at everything. They look at the process, but they also look at the system. They look at the screens. They look at the journey that the customer goes through. And they identify all the areas that we could potentially improve. And the business analyst there would be all kinds of stakeholders involved with this discussion, but the business analyst is central to it. So the business analyst would be the one to talk to all the different stakeholders in the supply chain and come up with what are the needs to improve this process so that we can have it optimized like they have it at the moment. And in future, it will be even better, but then we'll be helped by AI, which is a new type of process or a new type of project that I will mention later on, that is impacting the way that business analysis is done as well, in a positive way. But yes, that's where the business analyst would play a role in the supply chain, making sure that it all runs smoothly.
Yeah. So so optimize any bottleneck or any kind of clunky things in any kind of business that you are in.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
okay, that would be great. If we have business analysis in hospital as well.
Yes, I know. I've even in Australia, I've had interesting experiences because my parents used to go to the hospital quite often. We always have to fill out the same form every time. And it's like, you should know this information by now. So yes, now there's definitely a lot of room for improvement with the processes.
Okay, we have someone is typing the link in. Is this your team or this is from our
No, that's from your team. Yeah.
Wow, that's very good. It's not from our team, it's from our audience. Thank you so much for
Thank
yes,
you. Yes.
I encourage for you guys to, this is not first thing first, Esta didn't sponsor me to, to it didn't pay me to actually advertise her YouTube channel here, but I encourage you guys to subscribe to this channel. I think the metaphor is very great. So what will you talk to us today about? Is there any
Okay. Yes, I would
outline or-
love.
Okay.
Yes, I would love to share with you my journey as a business analyst through my career and talk to you about some of the example projects that I worked on and show you some examples of the types of work that I would have delivered along the journey. Because this way it will be more tangible for you. You'll be able to see, oh, okay, this is what a BA actually do. So if you let me, I will maybe jump into a few slides.
Okay,
And we
go
can have a conversation, yeah, as we go. So let's see, let me just get my clicking right. So yes, the things that thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. It's been, you are all very friendly and I really appreciate that. So like I say, I'm going to take you on a journey where we go through some of the projects and you get a real feel for it. And perhaps you might want to ask questions along the way. But then we'll delve into what is business analysis again and see where we land. and then I'll tell you how do people become business analysts, just for those of you that might get so excited because it's an awesome career, then you know at least roughly what to do. And then also I will share with you the salary expectations for different levels of business analysts as it's been shared by the International Institute of Business Analysis.
Mhm.
So if that sounds okay to you, I'll kick that off.
Go ahead.
Excellent. So my first question for everyone, if you can just in the chat, if you can just say on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you already know about business analysis? If you are brand new to it and you are here to learn about business analysis, just put a 1. But if you think you know a lot about it, put a 10. Or if you're somewhere in the middle, maybe put a 4 or 5.
Okay.
So if you could just in the chat, just type 1 to 10.
I'm gonna translate into Thai now in case some people
Okay. Yeah.
are catching up with us too. ก็ทุกท่านคะเอสตาถามนะชวนคุยเพลินๆว่าพวกเรารู้เรื่อง business analysis มากแค่ไหน ถ้า1คือไม่ทราบเลย10คือโอ้โห expert อะไรอย่างเงี้ยนะคะ1 to 10 from scale 1 to 10 เนี่ยนะ how much do you guys know about this career คุณ NM Miss or Mr. NM is 2 so you are
Yes, 2. Oh, okay. We've got a 10. That's
two is better than
wonderful.
1 so ทาง
Yes.
ถูกนะคะtwo we have somebody in Facebook as well too ขอบคุณมากเลยทิป
Okay. Wonderful.
Okay so I think that's it people are
That's
asking.
okay. That's all good. So we've got some
10
people brand. Yes, and we've got somebody that knows it all. So that's really good. And I hope that I can share something with you as well today that you may not have known, or that's a slightly different perspective. There's always more to learn within this field. Thank you for that. So that's awesome.
Yes.
Now, let me tell you about where do I come from and where have I worked as a business analyst around this globe. So I started my journey in Johannesburg. That's where I'm originally from. And my journey from Johannesburg went to London, where I worked a bit more, about 7 years in London. And then I came to Melbourne, Australia. Now, these are the highlight projects that I've done through my career. So I've worked for Arthur Andersen in Johannesburg as well as London. And then I worked for a couple of other companies. And I will very briefly jump through some of the projects I did for these particular companies. And I've worked for a bunch of other places as well. It's been a few years. But these are the ones that I wanted to highlight today so that you can get that real world feeling for what it's actually like to be a BA. So let's jump straight into Joburg.
It's a little bit police as well. No, I'm just
yes. So I'll tell you about that. I worked for the police on a project for them.
Wow.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
So I'll tell you about that when we get to Melbourne.
Okay.
But yeah, let's see. So let's jump into the first project I ever did as a business analyst in Johannesburg. But just like you were asking me before, I wanted to give you a bit of what does a business analyst do before I start telling you about what I did. And just to reiterate it again, so a business analyst identifies and validates business requirements, needs, and problems, and they communicate those needs to help find solutions. And those solutions can be systems, it can be process change, it can be people change, it can be any type of improvement. But most of the time, it will be a system and process combination with some people impact. So that's the definition that we've already actually touched on. So if we now go to the project, so what did I work on? So the very first project was a global HR implementation, which was basically a human resource implementation for the Arthur Andersen offices. And the system we were implementing was an Oracle system called PeopleSoft. So what was the actual problem we solved? So as a business analyst, you tend to most of the time work in some kind of project. You're always part of a team. So the problem we were solving, or that we were supposed to help them solve, was to replace the local human resource management system with the company-wide PeopleSoft rollout, that was a global rollout. So Arthur Andersen had offices all around the world, and we were just a little office in Johannesburg. So we were using quite an old system to manage all of the employee data, all of the payroll, all of the recruitment, all of those normal human resource capabilities or processes. So this was the problem we had, that we now had to go onto the company-wide solution. So now we can talk about what did I actually have to do. So as a business analyst on that project, I had to spend quite a lot of time to understand and analyze the current local system capabilities. So what that means is I basically had to go talk to everybody in the HR department about how do they recruit new staff. So they would explain to me that, okay, so they would send it, do the recruitment process, and they would capture all of their details in an Excel spreadsheet or in an old database. And then I would talk to payroll, and I'll understand exactly how do they do payroll, what are the forms they use, what are the steps they follow, how does the money get from them to the employee, and what are the calculations they had to do. So you're going to a lot of detail to understand how do we currently do whatever it is we do. So in this case, it was the PeopleSoft. How do we manage our people currently? So that I spent a lot of time working with the team on understanding that. And that meant lots of interaction with the stakeholders. And this is a big part of a business analyst's job, is you will interview the local staff and you'll talk to them. You'll understand what do they do. You sit with them, you run workshops with them, and really delve into the detail. So building good relationships are important as well. And then you also work with the team, the new global team that wants to implement this new system to learn. As the BA on the project, I mean, I was just in Johannesburg, so I need to learn the new system so that I can help with the implementation as well. So these were the highlights of what I needed to do as that first role in Andersen. Now, the question is, how did I actually do it? So what's it like? One of the things is I was drawing process diagrams, and I'll show you an example of what that looks like.
Great.
I also did requirements documents, which is a document you create as a business analyst to document all of the business requirements and business needs in terms of what you want the new system to be able to do. And there's quite a lot of techniques that you can learn, modeling you can do, different visual techniques you can do or use to help get that message across. And that is part of the challenge of being a business analyst, is to know when to use what techniques. But in those days, so a lot of it was textual. Then we had gap analysis to see what is the difference between what we do today and this new solution. Is there anything that we need to take note of so that we can find a new workaround or a different way to make it work in the future? So these were the kind of things that I did there. And just to show you an example, this is what a process diagram would look like. Now, this is not a HR example, it's a different example, but I just wanted to show you what does a current state process diagram potentially look like. And there are different ways you can do process diagrams, but essentially, this is a good basic diagram. And I don't think we've got time for me to explain how it works exactly, but I just want you to see what it looks like. Then a gap analysis could potentially just be a spreadsheet where you say, this is the current state for each of these criteria. This is how we do things today. This is what we are going to have to do in future. And maybe there might be some gaps where we're doing something today that we don't have something for the future. And that's when you put your gaps in. That's just a very basic example of a gap analysis that you could have. Now let's rush over to London.
Could I
Yes.
break for a bit? So I
Of
just
course.
want to recap, and then maybe if people have questions, then we
Yes,
get to answer.
sure.
So I'm just gonna talk in Thai a bit ก็แบบสรุปว่าเมื่อกี้เป็นงาน HR นะคะที่อาจารย์ที่อาจารย์เขาทำหมายถึงว่า เขาเนี่ยไปเป็น business analyst business analyst แล้วก็จริงๆแล้วมันต้องมี implement โปรแกรม Oracle ซึ่งเป็นโปรแกรม global เนาะลงไปแทนโปรแกรม HR เก่าและที่อาจารย์โชว์ให้ดูเมื่อกี้เนี่ยเขาก็เป็นเหมือนเป็นแบบ process หรือ gap analysis ที่ทำในทั้งWord แล้วก็ Excel so far if you guys have done this kind of problem solving or any kind of process analyze and then if you have experience you want to share and then maybe ask Esther that oh I haven't done this or I have done this but it's different or I have done this and then I stumble into please let us know so we have something to talk about too and then now
Yes.
we go back to another experience from UK to Esta ถามได้เลยนะคะแล้วเดี๋ยวอาจารย์เบรกแล้วก็ถามให้ค่ะ okay go on sorry
Any questions? Not
Think-
yet.
not yet I don't think there will be until the end but
That's okay. That's okay.
I'm gonna break and then recap.
Yes, keep doing that. Absolutely. That's really good. I think it definitely helps everybody to keep up because I'll be throwing a lot of information to everyone. So it's really good if we do the recap. So then I got sent to London. I was very happy. It was a wonderful opportunity to get transferred to the London office. And this is where I continue to work for Arthur Andersen, but I actually did a different project. But I thought I would let you all in on a little thing that happened to me on my very first day in the London office. I got completely lost on the London Underground. And I was actually 45 minutes late for my first day, which was very embarrassing. And I had a big panic, but thankfully they were very understanding. And because I was, a foreigner coming from South Africa, they were giving me a bit of space to do that. So anyway, I will never forget that moment, though. It was very, very, very crazy day. But let's get back to the project. So this next project was also for Arthur Andersen, as you've said. This time I was working on a call center centralization project. And the software we were using was called Vantiv. So let me maybe just then show you what was the problem that we were trying to solve. So in this case, Andersen wanted to save money on support because at that stage, they had offices all around the world, like I said, and they were huge, a massive global company. And they had help desks in every single office. And they realized that that was actually quite costly because there's a lot of the types of calls that people can solve on the phone. That is the same for every single company, every single country. So what they were trying to do is to centralize the call center to handle all the phone call support. And they were, I suppose, it was a trend at that time, and I know a lot of companies started doing this. And they were going to have a call center in the American time zone, the European time zone, and the Asian time zone. And I was part of that project, which was wonderful because what I had to do was for the European area, my job was to understand how do the local help desks all around Europe do what they do. And in those days, Zoom wasn't this prevalent. So I got to travel to a lot of places, which was wonderful for my experience. But I met but I learned something very valuable during that time. And that was to learn that a business analyst was not just about business. It was actually a lot about building relationships with stakeholders. Because often when you come in, you are going to take something away from them that they've been doing. And you are introducing change. And people don't like change a lot of the time. People like to hang on to their jobs, obviously, but also hang on to the way that they used to do things. So a business analyst is also called sometimes a change agent because we are the ones that would come in and say, okay, we're going to take, this system you've been using for the last 10 years, it's not good enough, we're putting in something else. So you have to be very, very sensitive to that. And you have to learn to be a good relationship builder where people can understand what will be the future benefits of the change you're bringing, but also then for you to be able to get their buy-in and give you the information that you as the BA on the team need to be able to get. So I learned this also working with some of the countries that, I mean, English is not my first language, it's my second language. But there were some countries that didn't have any English, like the Spain office didn't have any English in the Spanish office. And we had one person there that could speak English. So what that meant for me as a BA, and this is one of the big lessons, was that I had to do a lot more with communication on written communication. So when I wanted to have a meeting with them, I would always send an email with very clear information about what the meeting is about and what are the types of things I'm looking for before having the meeting, just as one example. So I just want to emphasize that communication skills for a business analyst is vital in any type of project, whether you can speak the language or not, but it is just all about people in a lot of ways. But so on this project, I did similar things than what I did for the Johannesburg office, in that I again needed to understand the current state. So I needed to understand, how does the current help desks work? What systems do they use exactly? What are the gaps between what they might need versus what we were able to give them with this central solution? And how much of what they do we're able to go to the call center? So again, I did a gap analysis, and again, I did one-on-one meetings with a lot of people to gather that information. And the way I did it, again, there was process maps involved, there was gap analysis involved. But what I also want to show you in this case, and just quickly here, I don't think I showed it on the previous diagram. To do process maps, you can use these types of tools for that. And to do gap analysis, you typically do Excel spreadsheet type tools. But the other document that I mentioned in the previous project, but I haven't shown you an example, is the requirement specification document. Now, there are some companies that still uses this document for a variety of different reasons. But there's also now different methods for documenting these requirements. So you can use software tools, you can use agile methodology where you use things like Confluence and Jira and use a story-based specification, but you still capture all of this information where you actually go quite formally, you document the project background, the assumptions, the constraints, everything you do, assume, and dependencies. And then the bulk is around the requirements of your stakeholders. What are they doing today? So that's your current state, and future state is what do we want to do in the future? So just to give you a little bit of an insight as to the scope of the requirement specification. Yes, can I see I've got Sutapon, you've got your hand up.
Yes. So we have two questions. Miss N-
Okay.
yes. She said, do you think technical knowledge, like degrees
Oh.
in IT, computer science, is required for this role? So for you,
This, I knew this question was coming, and I've actually got a special slide for that question, because it's such an important question, and I will talk about that question, if it's okay, in a couple of slides, because there's a few things that I want to share with you that I think will open your eyes for what you actually need to be able to do this role or not need.
เขามี
Is
นะคะ
that
แต่ว่า
okay?
รอสักพัก wait a bit นะคะคุณ NM is it okay we're just gonna wait a bit another questions from คุณ Thiranan please provide BA hard skills for juniors beginners, like any hard skill that requires, probably because this is the beginning of the session, people want to know if it's a,
Yes.
could you answer if it's okay?
Yes. So the hard skills are actually a lot of what I just talked about, is things like being able to know what are requirements and have interviews with stakeholders to identify what those requirements are. So those hard skills would be to then go and document those requirements, either with process mapping, so that's one skill that you need to learn, but also you need to learn how to write requirements, how to write user stories, and so forth. And I'll show you more examples to give you more of a feeling. There are as a beginner, these two projects that I was involved with, these were in the beginning of my career. And a lot of what I did was talking to people, understanding the requirements. With business analysis, you'll also see down the track in my slides, there's a slide with all the techniques we learn over the career span. And I'll point out the ones that are the things that's really important to junior beginner business analysts to make it a bit more tangible for you. But if there's one skill, two skills that you can start with, the one is to understand really well what is a requirement, understand what that means, and then to learn how to do an interview with a stakeholder to understand how to get those requirements from them. That's about learning how to answer the right questions. And then a technical technique you can learn that will always be helpful is the process diagram. It's a very basic one, but it's very powerful and it's a great communication tool. So that's a start, but there's more. And you will see that it's with business analysis. The other thing I might just say at this stage, it's not black and white. There is so many gray areas. So as you develop as a business analyst, you will learn what techniques work for you and what is useful in what situation. So as you get more experience, your toolbox becomes bigger and you're able to handle more types of scenarios. But in the beginning, if you can just focus on understanding what requirements are and how to have good interview sessions with your stakeholders to talk about what they need from the project. I hope that helps you a little bit get started.
Is it okay? Yes. No, I was just sorry. I was just gonna say that. Is it okay, you guys? Let us know. บอกได้นะคะทุกท่านแบบถ้าแบบอยากถามอะไรอย่างเงี้ยwe are happy to because this is probably new in social media. It's not new field, but in Thailand social media, we're trying to promote. I think it would be wonderful, like we said, in hospital, anywhere to have BA to not have bottleneck anymore. So, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No worries. That's all good. So let's now see. I want to quickly share with you a slightly different project that I did when I worked for Deloitte.
Okay.
And this one was about a hot desk solution. Basically, what we did here is they needed to save money on office space. So they needed some software to manage the desk space that was available. These days, hot desk and flexi desk solutions are all over the show and it's kind of the norm. But at that stage, it was still relatively a new concept for people not to have a dedicated desk when they go to the office. So it was only when you needed to go to the office, like today we work from home, so you don't always need a desk in the office. So we needed to look at software that could manage those desks remotely so that people can book a desk instead of just always going to a desk. So Sudhapon, you've got your hand up. Did
Yes.
you have a question?
Just a bit. Quick
Yes.
questions. On the hot desk solution, because this word comes up so many times. So hot desk solution is software, just to.
Yes.
Okay, so how could it save our space? Just to clarify a little bit.
Yes.
Is it like paper scanner or what?
Okay, so the hot desk, no, that's all good. It's like a website. It's like how you will book a meeting. You will just book a space to sit. So what the office would do is they would give the project team their floor space. So they'll explain where all their desks are. And that information gets uploaded into the solution, the software.
Okay.
And then, so the software then knows what are the desks that's out there that's available.
Mhm.
And then what a person that wants to go to the office tomorrow, they just go online the day before and they say, I want to book this desk to sit at tomorrow if it's free. So they do an online booking, just like you book a calendar meeting or just how you book almost a flight or anything. You just go say, I want to book that session, that desk for this day. So that's what the software does. And this way, what it means is because people don't all go to the office anymore, some people go to the office once a week or twice a week. So they don't need a desk to sit there waiting for them because the floor space is very expensive for the company. So the company is trying to reduce the floor space so that they've got less desks, so that people can pre-book their desks if they want to come to the office. So it gives, when we did this project, it was more about, because Deloitte, as you know, is a professional services firm. So they often had all their consultants out working on client sites. So they had all these desks free. So they were spending a lot of money on desk space. So our problem here was to pick a solution that would work for Deloitte. Now, what did I have to do for this as the business analyst? Now, this was a bit different because I had to this time go and first of all, in fact, I had to talk to the property people, the office people that manages the office around what would be the requirements for a solution. What are their key criteria? Like, do they want people to be able to book it online? Do they want people to be able to book it a week in advance? Do they want people to be able to book more than one day at a time? All these types of questions is what I needed to go and ask as the business analyst to understand what is the true need or the requirements from the business for this solution. But then once I got all the needs listed, I've got it all documented and confirmed, I then had to go into the market and look for a software solution or for a few software solutions that could potentially meet all of that criteria. So then once I came up with, okay, I think these three would potentially do that, then I had to facilitate a process where all the key players, so all the key stakeholders comes to a room, they get a list of all the criteria, and they do an assessment by looking at a demonstration of the software. And then they do that for all of the software options. And we do a bit of a evaluation, a proper formal evaluation against the criteria. And I'll show you what that could look like. So that we can pick one, so that I can pick a solution to go and implement for the company. So again, how did I do this piece? I just did a lot of requirements gathering. Once again, there's lots of communication. So the person that asked about what is the first thing you can learn as a hard skill, you can see every single project I've done so far, I had to go and talk to people about what it is they want. If you can master that skill, you are halfway there. Okay, so that's a good one to start with. And be ready that people keep changing their minds about what they want too. But anyway, so then the other thing I had to do is create this evaluation matrix and then facilitate those meetings. Excuse me. So here I just want to show you an example of what that could look like. So this is just an example of an evaluation matrix where you list all the criteria on the left. Some of the criteria will be more important than other parts of the criteria, so it gets a weighting. And then you ask people their solution A option, solution option B, and solution option C. So you simply get people to rate each of these against the criteria. And then at the end, you get consensus on that and you choose a solution. So this type of activity is also, it's a solution evaluation activity that business analysts get very involved with. So that was a new experience for me at the time, but I've done quite a lot of them since this project. And because just a note for everyone, and this is not necessarily only for business analysis, but when you start running a lot of workshops, and that's something we do a lot as business analysts, it's always good to be quite good with your agendas, especially when you have larger groups, and also to use proper templates for your actions. So these are just something that I had to use. And again, you know, some companies, excuse me, I'm losing my voice today. It's
Go ahead,
not
go ahead.
good.
Go ahead.
Some companies are very formal and they'll make you use these all the time, and some are not. So is there any questions perhaps about this project?
Let's recap, and then
Okay.
I think there will be questions. So what I understand here is normally there would be a problem for a company and implement a change, and then business analyst, in this case, you are trying to launch a new software, a solution. There are three ways, and then the thing that I like the most is actually you have the word evaluation metrics, you have a weight decision framework. So I'm just gonna ask, if you guys have any questions, just let me know. But I'm gonna ask you guys now. Do you guys have weight decision metrics in your company? If you have, what kind of, is it like all the time, or it's just important decision? And do you have evaluation metrics? And do you have workshop to actually facilitate decision and action? ก็คือสรุปนะคะอาจารย์ขออนุญาตนิดนึงก็คือว่า I'm going to talk in Thai a bit so you can
That's
respond.
okay. Thank you.
ก็คือเหมือนเวลาที่ตัดสินใจอะไรก็ตามอย่างเงี้ยค่ะเอสตาเขาบอกว่าเขาใช้วิธีเหมือนแบบเวลาที่เรามีโซลูชันเนาะ3 อย่างก็คือ1ก็คือมีพวกแบบให้คะแนนด้วยเพราะว่า decision แต่ละอย่างก็คือไม่ใช่ว่าทุกแบบไม่ใช่ว่าสมมติว่า3 solution ใช่ไหมมันก็จะมีปัจจัยที่ไม่เหมือนกันมันก็จะมีdecision weight decision matrix ที่เห็นเมื่อกี้แล้วก็อันที่2ก็คือที่ชอบมากๆก็คืออันเนี้ยค่ะก็คือเป็นอะไรนะ workshop for action and decision มีเฟรมเวิร์กชัดเจนว่าสุดท้ายแล้วมันต้องเกิด action decision อะไรซึ่งอันเนี้ยสำหรับคนประชุมนานๆเนี่ยไม่แน่ใจว่ามีหรือเปล่าอันเนี้ยอาจารย์ถามง่ายๆค่ะถ้าเกิดว่ามีพิมพ์มีมากมีทุกอัน if you guys have this is frequent in your company just type 2 if it's sometimes you have this kind of metrics or workshop actions type 1 if no type 0 so 2 this is frequent 1 sometimes you see this in the high level decision making 0 you don't really see this in your company and Tiranan said, Miss Tiranan, I think, I'm not sure, Miss or Mr. Please provide source of download of BA documents. Do you have any kind of resource to download this kind of document?
I've got a couple of templates that I can share with you after, if you like, if you want to share with people. Yeah.
There are people that ask in Facebook as well. Kun B, Miss B, Miss or Miss B. Do you use any data to solve problem? So when you have solution, do you use data? This is the questions. Do you use any data to solve problem?
That is definitely more of a data analyst job. So what would happen is the business analyst might go work with a data analyst to look at the data to try and find problems. So that the data analyst would be the one to come up and say, okay, these are the things that we see, but the business analyst just needs to be able to communicate that to the business. So it's more of you wouldn't typically, if you're a business analyst with business focus, you wouldn't necessarily be the one to go delve into the data. However, you work closely with the people that can find those types of issues in the data. So you're like an intermediary. Because data is always part of most projects these days. So it's always good to have a data analyst on the team to help with those questions.
I think it's different. Not that I think I wouldn't know, but it's different role, right? Data analyst and business.
Yes.
So
they work together, but yeah, it's different.
Yes. So business analyst is more talking to people one-on-one, checking the process, and recap the solution. That probably the solution would be gathered from data. So
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why often there's a data element, and they will go and talk to data analysts, they'll investigate the data, they'll run queries, they'll do whatever they have to do, and then they'll go back, the business analyst would go back to the business and they'll talk about whatever it is they found.
ah,
But it,
yes, sorry.
no, that's good.
Miss NM said 0. Always rush. Well, maybe only in my project. So
Always, there is always a rush. It's always a rush. There's
everywhere.
never enough time.
Okay, so I have another question from, you know,
Yeah.
from Miss NM. She said that okay, always a rush, and then well, maybe in her project.
No, it's everybody's project.
Yeah. So actually, okay, let's say that you have business analysts in your company, but they're probably involved in some, important project. So my question is, if you want to train, if you want to train your general employee or your team to actually have this kind of framework, is it necessary? Or if you say it is good, it is necessary, what kind of training do they need?
Okay. It is definitely a good idea because these skills doesn't have to always just be business analysts that do it. Sometimes it's really good skills that can be used by different business stakeholders or other people in the team to help with some of it. So what I might do is I might skip ahead, if that's okay, and share with you some of those things because I want everybody to hear about it. So I'm going to skip this project. This was a software development project. So just so you know, there's more techniques where you can get involved with designing screens and things like that as well. And you can get involved in doing UML use cases, and again, requirements. But let's go and answer some of those other questions. So just quickly to run through, what is it that now that we get to this point, what are the things that I actually did? So as a business analyst, I spoke to people. So I interviewed people. I facilitated workshops. I analyzed the current system. I learned how new systems work or how it should work. I did gap analysis. I did process diagrams. I documented the requirements, created the wireframes, use cases, and I researched legislation. But what I want to get to is what I didn't do, because I think that's what's important for your audience to know. I didn't need to be a programmer or a coder. I don't need those skills. I also don't need to write SQL. Now, SQL is a very, very important skill for a data analyst. And if you are more technically minded and you're interested as a business analyst, you can learn SQL, but it's not a requirement to be successful as a business analyst to be able to do any programming or SQL. I didn't need to manage a project. I didn't need to do the testing of the system. I might help to tell them what to test, but it's not my job as the business analyst to test the system. So essentially, you don't need to be technical to be a business analyst. That was the point I wanted to make. Sometimes people are not sure and not clear about that. So maybe keep that in the back of your mind, and let's have a quick talk about what you need to do to be able to become a business analyst. What's required, if that's okay?
I think there is one question from Facebook.
Okay, let's do that first.
Kuntip asked, is this relevant for if you have a price war, or do you do research for price for competitive advantage or any kind, or no?
Not really. No, I think he might be talking about market analysis.
Okay,
Technically, that might technically be a technique, but it's very rare that a business analyst gets into that kind of market research.
อันนั้นเป็น Market Analyst ค่ะทิปก็คือของ BA มันจะเป็น Change Agent คือจะเปลี่ยนอะไรสักอย่างแล้วก็ไปบุกตรงนั้น หรือว่าจะแบบซื้ออะไรสักอย่างแล้วก็ไปบุกแบบลงมือแล้วก็ดูว่า work หรือเปล่า แต่ว่าถ้าเป็น Market Analyst มันก็จะเป็นอีกแบบก็คือไปดูสงครามราคาอะไร I'm just gonna I'm
That's
just
okay. Yeah.
it's the
I
same
see there's another question there. What's the difference between a business analyst and a system analyst?
Okay.
That's a very good question, and I can quickly answer that as well.
Okay.
So, a business analyst is the person that I've described so far. So, the one that talks to the business and make sure that the business requirements and the business's problems are documented and needs are identified and translated to the project team.
Mhm.
The system analyst is what I sometimes described as a more technical business analyst. So a system analyst would typically work more down in the detail of the system. So they may have some experience with technical things like potentially coding. They might be experts in particular systems where they go under the hood of the system, where a business analyst never gets that technical. A business analyst is more focused on business stuff, where a technical system analyst focus more on the details of the system. System analysts working with business analysts can be a very, very nice combination. Yes, so in a nutshell, that's the difference.
Okay. Could you just a bit, could you give example, let's say maybe okay, the Amazon. So what system analysts do and what business analysts do, the Amazon delivery.
Okay.
Just
Yes. So, yes, sure. So the business analyst might be the one to map out the end-to-end process of how the fulfillment of the order will be done in like process maps like I showed you. The system analyst might be then the one to say, okay, if you want that part of the process and that part of the process to be done automatically, we will need to integrate this system and this system, and they will go look at the technical details of what is required to send messages between the systems to make that happen. So they might go to that interface specification level between the two systems. So they look at the system details. They might, like I say, not always, but they might have coding experience. They might love it to go and look at the absolute low-level detail, where the business analyst is a level above that, more looking at the business process. And that's the just so everybody knows, there is a very wide spectrum. Business analysts can go from being very business focused and non-technical, and they can slide down the scale and become more and more technical with their experience if they want to, and then eventually become a system analyst effectively. So there's a space for everyone. So if you like being technical, you can still be a business analyst as well as a technical system analyst. You can use both of those things and become an amazing professional. Okay, so I think we had a question about the salary. So let's jump quickly to that slide. So we are unfortunately going to jump over this police experience one, but it was one of the best projects I've ever done, just quickly working and learning about all the different police departments.
The most beautiful
I got
employee.
Yes, I was the most beautiful employee. I was making sure not to do anything wrong. We actually had police, we had proper police in our team, which was a new experience as well, but they were all very sweet and lovely people. So I will jump through this without actually going. This is just another diagram I wanted to show you, and another type of matrix. So these are two other techniques that you could do. But let's go to the salary information, because that's what's important. And this is a list of just a bunch of other types of projects that business analysts can get involved with. And this is what I wanted to say to you. The ones that we've discussed are good, but you can also get involved in doing business intelligence, data migration, or artificial intelligence projects, which are becoming more and more prevalent. Then the Babok Guide, this is the industry body of knowledge. That this is roughly what's in there. It's quite a lot of information, and we won't have time today to go through that, but I just want you to know it's a formally documented in Korea with a best practice guide that you can delve into to learn how to be an awesome business analyst. And then these are the techniques I mentioned. These are the techniques you will learn as you go through your career. You'll become better and better with all of this, and you'll use it when you need to use it because you'll know when to use each technique. But now let's talk about your question around, do you need a degree and how to get it to become a business analyst? So anyone can become a business analyst that's got the right aptitude and interest to work to become a business analyst. Because being a business analyst is not particularly easy, but it is very, for people that loves a challenge and that likes problem solving and is willing to put in the work to learn to do it properly, it's an amazing career with a lot of diversity. You don't strictly need a degree to be able to enter as a business analyst. However, you know, any degree is always helpful when you do job hunting, but it's not a requirement to be able to get a business analysis job. Certification, like the CBAP question that I saw, I highly recommend it because I don't know, in Thailand it might be different if you say that it's quite a new and emerging role for you. But in like Australia and the US and Canada, it's becoming quite competitive because lots of people are becoming business analysts. And therefore, if you can set yourself apart by doing a proper industry certification, then I highly recommend you do that. And it's good for your own confidence and being able to do the job properly. But let's talk about salary, and then I'll talk to you briefly about the certification, just to answer the question I saw. I must exam. Yes, I'll talk to you. Yes. So I'll answer the question about if I want to increase my salary, do I have to do a CBAP? I'll answer that question for you as well. But let's have a look at this slide. So this is US dollars, and this you can find this on the International Institute of Business Analysis website as well. But they did a global survey to see what is the average salary at the different levels of experience in US dollars. So this is entry level, 57,000 roughly. And then mid-level is when you have about between 2 and 3 years experience. And then senior level goes up to, this is 5 years or more. And then manager, when you're a manager as a business analyst, it's often a combination of leading a team on a project plus being a normal line manager. So it's a combined role. That's why there's not a big difference. It's like these two roles are often kind of the same. I put dotted lines around these roles because that's 90% of business analysis roles fall within this group. These roles here are about being directors or senior managers where they are not really business analysts anymore. They might oversee a function that is business analysis. And here the CEO salaries. So I wouldn't look at that. This is a good guideline as average. But it can vary a lot as well. So keep that in mind. Now the question about the CBAP certification. Let's just get to that one. So how do you become a business analyst? Just the first step for people just starting out is to get an endorsed training course. So do some IBA endorsed training course. That is a foundational course. And then you go and take the step and do some certification. That is also the International Institute is definitely the best known one in the world. And I would definitely recommend that you look at what are all the different certifications with them. However, if you're starting out from scratch, you haven't worked as a BA before, you're brand new and you want to get started, then you go for the entry certificate. But then the question we have about the CBAP, this one is a very good certification in the sense that it's quite well known because it's the oldest certification. So everybody in the industry now knows what it means. And it does mean that you have to have at least 5 or more years of business analysis experience to be able to sit the exam. So it's quite a hard exam as well. That's based on that Babel guide that you saw very quickly when I rushed through the slides. But yeah, so there's a career path. And when you become a CBAP, providing you can get recognition in your organization, if they know what a CBAP means, then it's definitely worth doing and go and negotiate the salary increase. But if you are thinking, maybe if I become a CBAP and I go outside and find another job, it may put you in a better place to have a bigger salary. But it's not guaranteed. It's never guaranteed because the industry, different industries pay more than other industries. And it will very much depend on you as well and the type of experience you bring. So keep that in mind. But from a career, if you want to be a career business analyst or at least be a business analyst for maybe 5 to 10 years and make it your focus, then a CBAP is a very good goal for you to have. So that's in a nutshell that question. So I hope that answered your question about the salary as well as the CBAP. But I think I've now rushed so quickly through all the questions because I'm conscious that time might run out for people. So do anybody have any other questions I can quickly answer for you?
Okay, guys, if you have, any doubts or any kind of questions, now is a good time to talk to Esther. But I think for this is our first time live together, so basically, people would know now that, oh, this is business analyst. People who know who have known, then it's okay. But for people who are looking for a new career, I think this would be another great opportunity that we want to explore, because people are starting to learn so much coding. Everybody is learning coding data, which is great. But I think there are maybe another career path that you could do without any kind of coding if you don't like to. So this one would be great, and obviously it would provide a lot of value for company, and obviously if it's provide a lot of value, you probably can increase salary. In my experience, I'm not the owner of your company, so I wouldn't know, but so people are saying Kun Tiranan say that BA is hard position for to make users satisfied. So probably, right? This is probably going to be the end of the session anyway, but I'm going to ask this as well because you are a change agent, and obviously this is the beginning of the year. There are a lot of implementing, a lot of change of restructure of organization. So probably you really get a lot of I don't want to sit one-on-one with you because I hate the thing that you're going to change. How do you cope with that, and how do you, this would be my question and it would be the last as well.
Yeah, that's fun. That's a good question. It's not always a negative thing. So there is actually, most of the time, the change comes with benefits. So providing that you can emphasize the benefits and sell the benefits, it helps you to gain people's trust, and they will start to work with you if you can find the benefits in the solution for them. So, if there are harder decisions, like there are people that will lose their jobs, then that will always be difficult. But, you then reach out to your project manager, you reach out to the other managers to make sure that the change management, because actually just keep in mind, a business analyst is the change agent, but there's a whole role, a completely different career that's called change management. So often you will have a change manager on your project as one of the team, and
Yes.
their job is to communicate any difficult decisions, but also just they have to communicate what the changes are. Your role as the BA, your role is the requirements and understanding the requirements and working with your change manager. But what I'm saying and what I've always done is I try to find the benefits of what I'm doing when I have to go and talk to someone, and then give them the opportunity to raise their concerns. And then you help them work through it, because they accept always that you are not the one forcing the change down them. They blame management. So you as the BA don't really get a lot of resistance. You tend to just, if you can just build the relationship, be the trusted confidant, try and focus on the good things and the benefits, which are most of the time it's actually a beneficial change. So I would say 90% of the projects I've been in, I didn't have to worry about taking people's jobs away. But it does obviously happen. And in those cases, the change managers are there to help you with those conversations. But like I said, most of the time, it's very positive conversations.
That this is actually my camera is turning off, so that is actually contrast because it's I think the camera is the battery is warm, I think, but anyway.
Okay.
It's they're saying time's up now, but anyway, I just want to say that this is the surprise for me, that I thought, change agent would get, I don't know, people would don't want to stay with you, and people would starting
No.
so that would be, I think that would be a great, you know, a great way to actually lure people into this career, and not that I have
Yeah.
anything to do with career, but I think it would be a great
Yeah.
way to actually start, because nowadays there's a lot of red ocean, so it would be a great way to actually explore a new opportunity in your life. You want to change field and you don't want to do coding, etc. So I'm
And
gonna
there will be, sorry, Singapore, just one more thing.
go ahead.
In
Go
the
ahead.
future, with artificial intelligence coming, there's so many opportunities for BAs to go and implement really good systems that is making life even easier for teams. It saves time. It just gives people the opportunity to do other things and better things. So there's definitely so much opportunity coming up. It's definitely a wonderful and highly recommended career path for people that's looking for something interesting and challenging, and with a good salary future as well.
Okay, so we're gonna I think it's time for today. Thank you so much, Esta,
Yeah.
for actually joining us. What time is it there in Australia? I don't know.
It'll probably be around 6 in the
Okay.
evening. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you can enjoy your weekend evening now. So you
Thank
guys,
you.
if you have any questions, just let me know. I may ask Esther to come back and talk with us again, because I think we are rushing today, but we actually have two good case study, and hopefully we can collaborate more in the future if you are open to it, and then we probably
Yeah.
can bring in the course that I actually see and on your website. You guys can just search Esta Lessing and then business analyst. I think it would come up and in Google. And so
Yeah.
far, yes. Do you have anything to talk to our people before we go off live today?
I just want to say thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed sharing some of my experience with you. And yes, I'm more than happy to talk to you again and understand or answer any questions that might come up.
Okay. So thank you so
No
much, you guys,
worries.
for today, and thank you, Esta, for calling us from Australia again. And
Yeah, no worries.
see you
Thank you
next
so
time.
much. See you next time. Bye.
Hopefully it'll be a great session for you guys นะคะขอบคุณมากค่ะสวัสดีค่ะไปแล้วนะคะ
Bye.